Glad you could make it, Mr. Lyle Radley. Would you like to start our interview?
Sure.
So, your campaign has gotten a lot of attention recently from the voters on account of your liberal views and already passed legislation. Some say that you're one of the most influential African American men living today. To what do you owe this success?
Well, it's not as if this happened all overnight. I owe my success to many people. The first is my mother. She was an unfaltering support for me these past few years.
Was there anyone else?
I'd be lying if I said there wasn't. My grandfather, Nathan Radley, was certainly an influence in my life.
Why do you laugh?
Not many people know this, but my grandfather was a horrible racist. It's partly because of his background that shaped his views, but when my mother first adopted me, he wasn't exactly accepting.
Was as in past tense?
Yes, he died last year. It was a true loss to our family's history.
But if he was such a rough-hearted man, how could he have been such a help to you?
It's obvious. He gave me insight into a world that I never could have dreamed existed. When my grandfather was a young man, he lived in a southern town called McHale, Alabama.
Howdy, Mr. Radley.
Hello.
Serves him right. Tom Robinson should go to hell for what he done.
Stupid Robinson case people are fussing about it. It was a given that dumb black man would be convicted.
What?
It was over for him the moment McHale opened her mouth. I'm surprised the case was even brought before a jury. It was already decided in everyone's mind. But the real trash out there are those ruthless Maycomb folks. They are full of sin and still manage to think that the Lord looks down on them kindly. They're all gone to hell.
Why?
They're always running their mouths about things they don't know. Heck, I'd probably be doing the same thing if I were one of them. But since we're good, God-fearing men, and the only ones who are truly Christian, we have to protect these idiots from the likes of Atticus Finch and his unorthodox ways. I don't even understand why I still live here.
Because my grandfather was one of the strictest Baptists in the state of Alabama and took every chance he could to punish my mother, she eventually grew tired of him and moved into Washington, D.C. as soon as the clock rang midnight on her 18th birthday.
Oh yes, you have mentioned her before in several of your speeches. Tell me, what was she like?
Yes, even after Brown versus Board of Education had been decided, the school she went to kept putting integration off. She grew up to be a teacher in Alabama and campaigned extensively for integration to be enforced in the school she worked for. After integration was really started because of the Alexander v. Holmes Board of Education, she became a persistent women's rights activist.
Equal rights for women now!
My mother was incredibly active in the equal rights movement for women in the late 60s and early 70s when she was a young woman herself.
Support women's rights now! We need to give women their rights. I'm angry. Equal rights.
Yeah.
Give women rights. Give other people rights.
Do that
rights
thing.
for everyone.
Right. Yeah! It's no use, Barb. We've been doing this for hours and they won't listen.
Well, we'll just have to be here for a few more hours then. Besides, if we stop now, what example are we going to give to all these other
You're
women?
so right!
Women's rights! Women's rights! Women's rights! Women's rights! Women's rights! Women's rights! Women's rights!
What in the name of tarnation is going on out here? My name is Barbara Radley. I'm protesting on behalf of women everywhere in support of the Equal Rights Amendment.
Oh God, not that. That's never gonna be passed.
That's right, we're here again. You politicians have not been listening to us at all, even with our most valid arguments.
Calm down, calm down. There's no need to protest. You women are simply destroying the perfect system we have.
All you ever do is talk, and you never listen to women anywhere. It's simply not right, and someone needs to listen to us.
Your mother seems to be a great woman.
Yeah, and she fought for a great cause as well. The impact of people like her have benefited future generations like mine. The fight for integration allowed me to go to integrated schools and get the best education I could have ever received. I truly admire my mother.
I was eager to effect change in the United States, especially with a recent Ferguson case and the jury's final ruling that created for a flood of protesters to enter the streets of Missouri.
Fires are still burning in Ferguson, Missouri, after unrest and anger left destruction in the streets. The violence comes after a grand jury declined to indict Officer Darren Wilson in the shooting death of Michael Brown. Crowds looted many businesses, some burned to the ground.
However, my initial desire to become a politician sprouted through a conflict that occurred a few years ago when I first got my license to drive.
I was roughly 18 and my driving record had been perfect until then. I was going the correct speed limit and everything.
Sir, I'm gonna have to arrest you for speeding.
But I was only going 10 miles above the speeding limit. Did you see that other driver?
No, I only saw you, so you need to get out of your car and come with me. I've been telling you because you look suspicious.
I know my rights. This is against the law.
And that's what drove you to get invested in politics in Washington?
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
I think that's all we have time for. I'm gonna have to leave you now.
Good luck in the election!